Today, we're diving into a story that sits right at a really dangerous intersection. We're talking family, big business, and medicine. It's a story about a meteoric rise to success, and then a sudden, absolutely shocking downfall that makes you question the very nature of psychiatric care.
Okay, let's just jump right in. The question that hangs over this entire story is a really troubling one. How does a man at the absolute peak of his game, the founder of a massive company, suddenly get his freedom stripped away and find himself declared mentally unstable? Well, this is the story of Ahmad al-Hussein.
The whole thing blows up in April 2024. Ahmad is forcibly taken and admitted to a psychiatric facility in Lebanon. And here's the critical detail you have to remember. This was all initiated by members of his own family. It turned what could have been a private struggle into a formal medical detainment. To really understand what happened, we have to start with the official story. The medical reason they gave for taking such an extreme step. So let's take a look at the narrative that was put forward by the doctors and his family. So on paper, the official diagnosis was drug-induced mania. Dr. Saigrij, the doctor in charge, basically claimed that Ahmad was in a state of psychosis brought on by substance abuse. And just like that, this diagnosis became the legal and medical justification for locking him up against his will. But, like with any complicated story, the official version is almost never the whole story. So now we're going to put that diagnosis under the microscope and compare what they claimed with what the evidence actually shows. And this is where the official narrative just starts to completely fall apart. Remember, the diagnosis was mania induced by drugs. But the lab test, taken on April 21st, right when he was admitted, came back completely negative. No substances at all. That contradiction, it's a massive, massive red flag. So despite those clean drug tests, Ahmad was immediately put on this aggressive cocktail of really powerful medications. We're talking heavy-duty antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, sedatives, the whole shebang. This kind of practice, where you use medication to basically incapacitate a patient instead of treating a verified condition, well, it has a name. It's called chemical detainment. In his own words, Ahmed doesn't see this as treatment. He sees it as punishment. And this quote from him is just so powerful. He says, the medicine wasn't meant to heal him. It was meant to silence him. And then the situation gets even worse, escalating from psychological control to something truly life-threatening. Documents show that Ahmad, who is HIV positive, told the medical staff about his condition. But instead of getting his essential immune therapy, they just gave him more sedatives. This wasn't just negligence, it was a direct threat to his life. The difference in diagnoses becomes crystal clear months later in Germany. A completely different picture emerges there. Doctors diagnosed him with adjustment disorder from stress. That's a world away from the severe substance abuse diagnosis in Lebanon. It really suggests that the first narrative might have been built for a very specific purpose. So, to understand the why behind all this, we have to rewind. This detainment didn't just happen out of nowhere. It was the explosive climax of years of intense family drama and business pressure. Ahmad actually described himself as a machine, working 20-hour days to build the family business from the ground up. He's open about the fact that this insane pressure led him to use stimulants, not for fun, but just to keep working, to avoid a total collapse. He literally buried his personal life to keep the company going. And this timeline, wow, it just shows how fast everything came crashing down. It starts in 2022 with trust in the family completely breaking down, on top of staggering financial losses. By early 2023, the pressure leads to a suicide attempt. Then, after he's forcibly hospitalized in April 2024, the trauma is so severe it's followed by a second attempt, just 1 month later. This quote, from a really tense conversation between Ahmad and his brother Ali, it just gets to the heart of the whole conflict. The family bond, which was supposed to be the foundation of their business, was just gone. This wasn't a simple disagreement. It was a total and complete collapse of trust. So who does Ahmad think is responsible for all this? See, he doesn't see this as just a family tragedy. He alleges a deliberate conspiracy orchestrated by key people both inside and outside his family, all to seize control of his company. According to Ahmad's side of the story, these are the main players. He points to a business associate, Houssein, as the mastermind of the whole plot. He accuses another man, Ali Jawish, of being the instigator who manipulated his family. And he alleges the doctor has provided the medical cover that was needed to make his removal look legitimate. And what's more, Ahmad's accusations go beyond just these individuals. The alleged connection to Hagop Bogosian, a past president of a Beirut Rotary Club, suggests that a powerful social network might have been used to exert influence and pull the strings behind the scenes. So, you're faced with what you believe is a full-blown conspiracy. How do you fight back when the very thing they're attacking is your sanity? Well, Ahmad's strategy was meticulous. It was modern, and it was all aimed at creating a record of his reality that no one could deny. He calls it his archive of truth. Because he was convinced he was being misrepresented, Ahmad started recording absolutely everything, every phone call, every meeting, every single interaction. He was building a fortress of evidence, a counter-narrative to fight the one being built against him. And his goal here isn't just about clearing his own name. He actually plans to turn this entire ordeal into a public story, like a documentary series. He wants his trauma to be a cautionary tale for everyone, shifting his role from a victim to an advocate. Ultimately, Ahmad claims this right isn't about money or getting his company back. He frames it as a battle of principles. He believes his commitment to transparency and truth is his greatest weapon against the web of accusations he's facing. So after unpacking all these different layers, why does this one-man's story matter so much? Because it touches on some really, really unsettling themes that go way beyond this one singular case. This story forces us to ask some really uncomfortable questions. I mean, how easily can a psychiatric diagnosis be used as a weapon? What happens when family fights have hundreds of millions of dollars on the line? And it shines a huge spotlight on the profound ethical duties of doctors who literally hold a patient's freedom in their hands. And that leaves us with this final, crucial question. In a system where medical authority can be turned against someone, where the line between treatment and control gets blurry, who is left to defend the patient's truth?